All right, guys, we are live on the Phoenix RIA page. We are also on my YouTube channel, Just for Flips, the Viking Brothers YouTube channel, and also our Facebook pages. So if you're watching, like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff that everybody asks you to do. Just a little market update. Man, we saw the 10-year just take a rock dive after all the stocks, and then it is kind of recovered in a 2 day. So if you missed that little lock, the 10 years bounced around 4.3 this morning. Now, I did see the Goldman Sachs thing. He thinks these tariffs could push us into more of a recession. So he thinks that the 10-year could settle out at 3.5. He said by early summer, which would bring interest rates down in the five somewhere, maybe high fives, depending on your credit score and all that fun stuff. But inventory keeps around that 24,000 mark. I know you're saying it's 26,000. You just got to remember that the northern Arizona got all dropped in. That was about 1,600 units. That's 4 to 5 weeks ago now. So, but we are lucky enough to have Carlos Reyes on. This guy is I think I had lunch with Carlos when he was swinging high-end cars 8 to 10 years ago. We don't remember what it was. I sat down with him and his partner Sal at some restaurant in like 7th Street in Camelback, and he was just talking about he had a car dealership and he was doing cars, and then the next thing he's got houses everywhere in Arizona, and then he's got houses all over the country, and then he's all in and he's on jets, and he's got it all. So I've seen it all through social media, which has kind of been awesome, just watching the whole progress of the whole thing. So thanks for jumping on and jumping on our episode.
It's been it's been a beautiful, challenging ride. I think that we all, right, that's one of the big reasons I believe that we do what we do. It's like we love the growth factor of the journey, right? We love the process and the evolution of the journey that we're in. And I get it. In many cases, it's painful, right? It's very painful. But how else are we going to continue to grow, right? It's that discomfort and those lessons, right? I'll give you small examples of what I'm talking about, because like you said, Chris, first of all, bro, number one, you know how long I have personally respected you as a human being, as a husband, as a father, as a businessman, probably close to a decade now. And that's why I told you, hey, brother, whatever you have, anything you need from me, like you're one of the rare human beings to be in proximity to, because once you've been in this business long enough and you've been in the speaker circuits and you've been in the social media worlds, you end up seeing that, 9 out of 10 times it's just a facade, right? It's not, people aren't, people are not really living in their integrity and in their truths, right? And it's very unfortunate to see that. But as we get older, you just begin to see that as a blessing. It's less is more and addition by subtraction. It's like, peace of mind at the end of the day is kind of what we're all seeking, right? Above anyone and anything, right? Our peace of mind, right? I always say this: peace of mind equals production, right? Yeah. When we're operating in a peaceful state of mind, we're better husbands, we're better fathers, we're better businessmen, we're better servants of the Lord, we're better servants of other people, our brothers and sisters, right? So that's why I've been seeking, brother, for a very long time. And I wake up every day, right? Doing that every single day. And what I was going to tell you is some of the biggest bumps on the road over these past couple of years was, just to name a few, right? 2022, December of 2022, we were betrayed by some business partners out in Egypt. that cost Sal, my business partner, and myself, over $5 million in earnings, not revenue, like actual income, right? That was one of the biggest blows that I've ever taken, as a businessman. Here's another blow, right? September of 2022, right before that big blow, was the market churned on us.
Yeah.
Right. And I had 18, and I know this is not a lot, but I had 18 flips out listed in the market, right?
Yep. That is a lot.
Flips. For some people it might not be a lot, right? But I had 18 flips. So now I'm fighting on two fronts. I'm coming to the closing table to write checks on 16 out of 18 deals to get rid of them. And then on the other side, I'm paying my, multiple or north of six-figure, interest only private money payments every single month, because as you guys know, our reputation, our name, our track record is all we have in business, right? Yeah. So I always got to do the next right thing in the next right way. And that's over the long haul, by the way, that's what's allowed Sal and myself I would say to have, the positioning and the reputation that we have. It's because how hard it is. You guys know, especially in business, how difficult it is, right? To stay in to operate in integrity day over day, month over month, year over year, right? And to do the right thing at all costs, right? So I believe that as business women and as businessmen, when we make that the number one priority in our business, you're not going to get rich quick, right? But you're definitely going to be built to last, and you're going to endure season over season over season. You know what I mean? So those are just some of the biggest blows that we've taken, over these past 2-3 years. But guess what, right? It's like, it's made us such better businessmen. Like we're in the private. Here's when people ask me now, like, hey, what do you do? I do two things and two things only. I'm in real estate arbitrage, specifically real estate arbitrage, which is what? Real flipping, novating, wholesaling, right? Those are the big three things that I do on the real estate side. And then on the business side, right, I'm in the private equity space where I have equity in multiple companies across multiple industries, whether it's flooring, software, education, the BPO company that has 450 employees that we operate in Egypt, right? So we have equity, Puppies and Coffee, a couple different ventures, right? So we're we're real estate guys and we're private equity guys. But at the end of the day, what Sal and I is, we're operators. Like, we're operators through and through. We love the architecture of building and scaling businesses. We love the conducting, like an orchestra, right? Like, it's like, right, hiring process, onboarding process, right? KPIs, core values, systems, processes, CRM, right? Project management systems. Like, that's what we love to do. That's what we've dedicated a lot of our lives. We're not real estate guys. We're entrepreneurs, we're businessmen, right? Real estate is one thing that we do, and we do extremely well. And we've done it extremely well, specifically in the off market, right? Direct acquisitions, right? To homeowners. But that is our passion. Our passion is to grow and to scale businesses when it comes to the business aspect of it. You know what I mean?
For sure. Carlos, one thing I love that you said is, it's so easy, like you were saying, to take the shortcut, right? Like when it comes to when times get tough, if it's to, just say, hey, you know what? I don't think I'm going to pay my hard money lender back. Like, this specific lender, I don't think I'm going to pay him back. Yeah. But exactly what you said. It's, your name is absolutely everything in what we do. Right. And everyone here is, on the younger side of life. I mean, if you plan on staying in this industry for a long time, you make those moves and you do take those shortcuts, you're going to get that bad name. You're not going to be in the industry for a long time.
And you'd be surprised what.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Thank you. You'd be surprised who knows you and what people know about you and what they
Yeah.
say when you're
Yeah.
not in the room. And
Mhm.
that reputation can precede you and get you deals, or it can get you
Oh
blacklisted
yeah,
really quickly.
very
This is
quickly.
as much
Small
as
world, right? Small
it
world.
really is. People think that they can get away with stuff here, and nope. We just
No, and you know, Tracy, that is one thing that I think a lot of people overlook is guard your name, right? Guard your name, guard your reputation, guard your integrity. Don't compromise it, right? What's that old proverb? You know, for what is it good if if a man gains the world and loses his or her soul?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like that's it. So here's what I tell people. I've been able to develop some beautiful relationships with some really high level people, over the past decade. And I believe that that's because I can walk into any room with my head held high, and I can look into the eyes of of a gazillionaire or a billionaire, because at the end of the day, how I'm living and my truth, how I'm operating as a man, as a human being, as a husband, as a father, right? That's my superpower, right? To be able to walk into that room and with confidence, has nothing to do with the amount of money, has nothing
Right.
to do with accomplishments, right? It's just that, I don't operate in guilt and shame,
Yep.
right? So I'm able to walk into a room. Is that us? Is that me? Oh, I think I lost you guys.
we can hear you.
We're good. We can hear you.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Carlos, can you hear us? We can still hear you.
Is that me or you guys? I can hear you guys.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, got it. So, if you're able to walk into any room, right, and you're
Now you froze.
shake somebody's hand and look at them in the eyes, then oh no.
Carlos,
Uh-oh.
we can hear you.
Luke, can you see me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
You're freezing.
Yeah,
freezing
so
up
that's
a
all I was
freezing
saying.
up
The
a little
point I'm
bit,
saying
nothing crazy.
Is that me? Because I can switch to my phone. I'm on Wi-Fi.
It seems to be pretty
think
intermittent. Sometimes there's a delay with your audio and visual, but we can still hear you.
Okay, I apologize. Wow,
good.
we even have the fiber optic that we paid for here, and that's clearly not working, right? So,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's it. Anybody out there that's listening, do the next right thing in the next right way. This real estate is and always will be a reputation business.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's not worth it, right? You scamming someone or taking advantage of someone over a $10,000 deal, you are blocking future blessings that can equate to millions of dollars if just for what, right? For short-term gain. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
And I think to take it a step further than that, that it's not even necessarily a lot of times the moves that you make as a business owner, as yourself, but it's also who you align yourself with, which is why,
That's right.
I'll tell people, anyone that I ever come into contact with, I have so much gratitude and I have so much confidence in saying that I work with Chris Iman regularly, because exactly what you're saying, people know that Chris is a dog. People know that he's a good guy. People know exactly what you started with, that he is, same thing. I mean, Chris, you told me a story of when things went bad in 2008. I think you said you repaid like $1.5 million of what was out or something like that. And you got every single dollar back with interest. I mean, that's not something that people do regularly.
Yeah.
You go out and you lose that kind of money. Not everyone's going to come back and be like, oh man, I just lost $1.5 million of my friends and family's money. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to book it, or, you know what I mean? Like, they don't just say like, I'm going to get every single dollar that I have back. And that's a test of your character.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
I appreciate that, but we got like 15 minutes to focus on
we could just stop the podcast right there. That was a gem.
Yeah.
Chris, I would love to tell people exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it, specifically on the real estate side, right? Because this is a real estate show. right? Here's what's working for us extremely well. Okay. What's working for us extremely well is inbound digital leads, such as Google AdWords campaigns, Meta, specifically Facebook, and PPL, specifically Lead Zolo, right? Inbound. So our conversion right now, which is
It's a horrible time to cut out.
but we are in multiple markets, right? We have an 18-to-1. We have an 18-to-1 conversion, right? So it's taking us 18 inbound digital leads to convert it into a marketable agreement, whether it's something that we're going to wholesale or something that we're going to actually flip ourselves. Right. But it's a deal. It's a good deal, right? Because here's what's happening in the industry. People are it's unfortunately it's amateur hour, right? It's amateur hour. As the years have evolved, you got a lot of people coming out the woodworks. Everybody's a teacher after they do 1 or 2 deals, right? So they're out there selling a course, and they're telling people to do this and do that, things that they're not even doing themselves, right? And then what's happening is people are beginning to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks. It makes the industry look bad, clearly, right? And it cancellation ratio among these type of individuals through the roof, right? 70% cancellation ratio, 80% cancellation ratio, right?
Yep.
That's not the way that you want to be operating your business. The way you operate, the way that you want to operate your business, you want to operate lean and mean and very efficient and very, very profitable, right? So how do you do that? Cancellation ratio at 20, no more than 30%, right? That means that, things are going to happen. Nobody bats, 100, 1,000, right? Nobody bats 1,000, but it's like inbound leads are going to be great. Okay. Make sure that you're underwriting properly. Make sure that you're not going into a deal that you're truly not going to perform on, because it makes a lot of people look bad. Right. So educate yourself, even if it takes you a little more time to educate yourself the right way in this aspect, right? You come in and you burn the ships, you start burning hard, you're going to be out of this business very quickly, and the word's going to get around and you make everybody in the industry look bad, right? So what we're doing, like I said, inbound leads, okay, are that's what's doing it for us. And we're doing a lot of flipping, and we're doing a lot of wholesaling, and we're doing very little novating. I know novating, there was a period where between 2022 and 2024, huge, like people were getting some big rips, right? In the novation world. We've always been kind of wholesale and flip kind of guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's harder to novate right now when you've got properties that are sitting on the market as long as they are, because obviously with the inventory being as high as it is right now, what did you say, Chris? Yes. Inventory is highest it's been since 2017.
Yeah, that's right. That's right about like an 8-year high right now, right? 8-year high right now.
Right. So when you've got that inventory as high as it is, it's harder to novate, because a lot of times, the seller does still want to move that property fairly quickly. So it makes it a little bit more difficult.
And here's my buying criteria here specifically in Phoenix, right? And I'll tell you what, Luke and Tracy and Chris, we're not having a tough time moving our properties. Do you remember where there was a time where you needed to be either the cheapest or the nicest?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There's a way where you can kind of be a little bit of both, right? You just got to follow a buy box criteria that's going to position you to be that way, right? So for us, ARV has to be under 450. Okay, our ARV is under 450. All right, we're buying at 65 cents on the dollar. That box has to be checked off. Mm-hmm. It has to be a 2 to 4 week project, and we have
super
to be
cosmetic.
And we have to be under $35,000 in renovation. All right.
Okay.
About 8%.
And then I preferably want to be under 55 days on average days on the market in that specific zip code. Right. So these are things that we have been doing now for several months, where our properties, as soon as they hit the market, we got 8 to 10, walkthroughs and, interest. And we can potentially, if we wanted to, accept an offer in the first, 2-3 days. Here's the other tweak that we're doing extremely well. People come in and they want to They want to price kind of at the market or a little higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually go the opposite.
Right under.
We price under and let the frenzy push it over to what we initially wanted in the first place. So these are things that are really, really working for us, especially with our flips right now.
Heck yeah.
Carlos, I teach the same thing in flip school, and it's nice to see the alignment of the same things that are working on my end too. And you're at a much, much different scale. But regardless, the only difference is on the timeline, especially for newer students. They're not going to be in and out in 2 to even 4 weeks, I think is ambitious for a new rehabber. But essentially, like super cosmetic, we're having to read tea leaves 3, 4, 5 months out sometimes. And right now, I'm just really encouraging, especially new students, not to do any major rehabs. So it sounds like you guys are in the same mindset. Just get in and get out.
Well, here's the other thing, Tracy. And by the way, my guys are legal, right? So let me throw that out the way, because we, Mexicans, we run the construction side of things, and in many cases, we're not fully legal, right? but right, my guys are legal. I am between $30 and $33 cost per square foot. That is labor and material. So that allows me to be able to bring my profitability up. Also, most people are $40, $50, material and labor. You know what I mean? Yeah. I am labor and material between $30 and $33 cost per dollar per square foot. Yeah. So that's allowed me, because I've had the same crew now since like 2018. So that's been very helpful, right? Here's what it comes down to is like, as a fix and flipper, as an investor, have you established a system? Have you established a conveyor belt? Have you positioned people to be able to move, right? Move in that conveyor belt. I'll give you an example, right? One of the most, I would say, important positions that we have in our organization is he's called an asset manager. Okay, asset manager. He's literally somewhere around here, Josh. So our asset manager, watch this. Our asset manager, he handles clients, he handles money, and he handles the projects. He oversees the general contractors that we have, right? So that right there, he handles the money. Okay, he handles everything. Our private money guys, our hard money guys, depending. He makes it happen. He handles our clients. Sometimes there's people that want to flip deals with us, and that's great. So he's constantly in communication. And then he handles the GCs. To me, right, that's a pivotal part of that system. You get what I'm saying? I don't have to do that, right? So I strongly encourage people out there that they start to position, different people in different roles and responsibilities, right? Acquisition managers, asset managers, GCs, dispo guys, a little bit of, transaction coordinators, right? Yeah. You have to develop that, and you have to start developing departments if you really want to do this at a high level.
No question. I'll go for it, Tracy.
We only have like about 5 minutes left here, I think. So within those systems, I'd like to offer a different perspective on what I see that might be contractionary policy, essentially these tariffs and mass deportations. How do you think that might affect your business, being that you flip at a larger scale and you see things from a macro and very micro perspective?
It has an effect. Here's Tracy. Here's what's going on, right? I've been keeping track specifically straight from the ICE website, and I've been looking at mass deportations. It's not really mass deportations. What's happening is the media is spinning it to be a mass deportations, right? If you take a look at the real numbers, and I've actually done some content about this, we're actually scheduled. If we stay on this schedule, we're scheduled to probably do a little bit over 1 million deportations over 4 years. We're at 1,100 people. We're about 900 to 1,100. So let's just call it 1,000 people per day. Okay, you multiply that times 365 days, right? You're at 365,000 times 4 years. You're at 1.4 million people over 4 years. That is absolutely nothing when it comes to deportations. Go take a look at Bill Clinton's numbers. Go take a look at Obama's numbers. Even go take a look at Joe Biden's numbers. It trumps, no pun intended, it trumps Trump's numbers. You know what I mean? Like, we're scheduled for 1.4 over the next 4 years. That's nothing when it comes to deportations,
Right.
Yeah.
I think
let's look at real data is what I'm saying. Look at the real data.
You don't want
So-
to listen to the media.
Yeah, exactly, man. You know, I like to look at, because men lie, women lie, numbers don't, and numbers always tell a
Yeah.
story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here's a number that might tell a story. I know all of us are rehabbers, but and this just came out a couple days ago, and the National Association of Home Builders was estimating that with tariffs, if they stay in place, would add an estimated $9,200 to the cost of building a new home. Roughly 7% of the materials used in new construction are imported, but even for us as remodelers, everything from roofing to lumber to aluminum to appliances to glass could all be affected, and insurance premiums might go up as well. So Luke and I were talking before the podcast started about a lot of this just being so volatile. It's hard to know what to predict and how this might affect it. Is there anything in your business that you're adjusting with this information and the tariffs?
I already did 65%. 65% is what I'm acquiring for. That leaves me enough room to
Covering the difference.
Leaves me a margin for whatever the market brings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. You're grabbing at 65 cents. Yeah. You leave yourself a margin for volatility, right? You leave a margin for if there's a little bit of a slight correction, whether it's 5, 10, 15%, or like in 2022, I saw it like 24% in 2022, right? When that
It
took a
changed
nasty turn
quickly.
right?
Yeah.
So and again, you just got to play the game, on the way up, on the way down, and in between.
Yeah.
That's the way you got to play it. You got to adjust. You got to adapt. And guess what, right? The most successful businessmen in the world are those that can adapt the quickest.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I don't see it making a huge difference. And even if it does, maybe it's for I can see maybe it being for the next year until really all these other countries come to play, which it sounds like it's already happening. I read something that said that 50 countries have already reached out to the White House. 77 now. So that's 77 countries have already came to play ball.
They're playing Trump.
Yep. Exactly. So, I mean, it's like the fact that days in, you already have that many countries, and China's one of them. Didn't China already come out immediately as well? And I guarantee that's probably the biggest.
100%. Mexico, Canada, China. I mean, everyone, right? And here's the reality of it, right? Luke, Tracy, Chris, we are very good. We specifically, in the entrepreneur world, we're very good at creating our own economy.
Yeah.
Right. We always figure out a way to create our own economy. You know what I mean? So we play the game, just like Trump plays the game, right? And Elon Musk plays the game, and Jeff Bezos. Entrepreneurs, their architectures are architects of their own economy, and that's what gives me a lot of peace of mind that we're always going to figure it out. We're very resourceful. We're very resourceful, solutions-oriented human beings. And we're always going to, God willing, stay ahead of the curve.
Well, one thing I really like about what you said earlier, Carlos, is not the things that you are doing, but the things that you're not doing. I'm not building new homes. I'm not trying to get into different niches. I'm literally staying within a pretty narrow framework, to be honest.
That's right.
And just adjusting that. So I really like that we're not freaking out. We're not freezing. We're not discontinuing our business. We're just refining what it is that we're doing and adjusting to the volatility that most likely will happen. And if it doesn't, maybe you get a little bit of a bigger rip or move your houses faster, but otherwise it sounds like it's just steady as she goes.
Yeah.
Tracy, I'm one of those guys that stayed open during when March 2020 came around, right? March 2020 came around, mid-March specifically. I'm one of those businesses that stayed open.
Yeah.
Right. I stayed open. I did not go the virtual route. I actually doubled down. I put the pedal to the metal, and that was very helpful over the next year and a half to 2 years before it took a turn on me. Obviously, September of 22. But there was a lot of traction that was gained when everybody ran for the hills, and a lot of investors started seeing it out. Right. I called some of my guys that I consider, geniuses in their own right, specifically in real estate, with over 3 and 4 decades of experience. I said, hey, how do you feel about what's going on? He's like, great, let's keep pushing. Hey, how do you feel what's going on? Great, let's keep pushing. That's why it's also really good to have your own board of advisors in your life, right? That way you don't have to make every big decision on your own. You call the right people at the right time and you make a quick decision.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. All right.
So what's next? Anything next on your calendar that's gonna like game changing?
You know, I'm very excited about everything that's happening right now. I'm very optimistic for what's here. And yes, this might be a quick, self-induced, manufactured short-term recession, but it's necessary. And I feel like what's going to come out on the other side, right? It's going to be very fruitful for everybody that's positioned correctly. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited to play the game at a high level. I got some of my buddies, they're exiting. Like, I'll give you an example. One of my really good friends out in California, he built a HVAC company called Next Gen. If you're ever in Cali, you'll see all the boards everywhere, Next Gen in like the American colors, right? 6 years, sold for $100 million with only $8 million in debt. Tommy Mello, Chris, you probably know him, A1 Garage, right? Yeah. Tommy Mello here locally, he sold 48% of his company for $200 million, right? So that's the next play, Chris, is for us to continue to just build to exit. When it comes to, I would say, a majority of our companies, that's the game that we're playing now. We're thinking long terms, like they say, people that are surviving and they think in days or months, right? Like people that are broke and not successful, multimillionaires, they think in years, and billionaires think in decades, right? We don't know if any of us here in this room will ever be billionaires, but why not just do what billionaires do and play the long game, think in decades, right? Build to exit. Everything we should be building, is this exitable, right? And that's why I look at for any business venture that I take on, number one is, hey, what's the earning potential? What's the annual earning potential of this business? Number one, right? What's that market share look like? If it's $10 million or more, I'll tap into it. If it's not, I don't want to touch it. Number two, is this scalable, right? Can I delegate, scale this and duplicate it, right?
Right.
Is it scalable? Number two. And then number three, is this exitable? If a business doesn't check off those 3 boxes, my business partner and I, we're not touching it.
I like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Well, we appreciate
good episode of Shark Tank, guys.
There you go.
Shark shit, Carlos. Shark shit.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Chris.
Of
Brother
course.
Chris, love you, brother. And you already know, whatever you need from me, bro, I'm here for you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Had a blast.
See ya.